Welcome back to the Musicians Talk Show podcast. This is episode number 109. One of your two co-hosts for the day, Dallas Dwight.
And I'm Matt Tolley.
And Matt is calling in virtually once again.
From another location. Just keep moving around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually at my family's home in Statesville.
So let's chat a little bit. How's everything going on your end?
Mass crowds. It's going good, man. It's going really good. Got away from all the Charlotte traffic and everybody, you know. I wanted to get out of the main masses, so. But now I'm free to basically make demos all day long. It's nice.
Nice.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Same situation as before, essentially. Just moved locations.
Yeah, that's probably better. Have a little more breathing room up there.
Dude, the city's too much. Like, there's people everywhere. Like, you're like, avoid people, stay 6 feet away. Yeah, right. There's people everywhere. Even during all this, like, quarantine, everybody's supposed to be inside. No, everybody's out, dude. There's cars everywhere. I think, though, as of Monday, they're shutting the whole state down. We might see things change in North Carolina. We'll see.
It's interesting. Yeah, we get two different perspectives on it because obviously down here I'm in South Carolina.
Right. We're technically in two different states, but we're fucking miles apart.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, different rules.
Different governments, different taxes.
But anyway, we were having a good conversation about all this stuff. Let's kind of pick that back up. Before we hit record, we were having a good talk.
Yeah. Do you have any weekend review stuff you want to talk about at all, or do you want to dive into that?
Nope, nothing.
I don't really have much either, other than just
no shows,
out,
nothing.
Quarantining. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Just
Let's just dive into the conversation. It was good. You're talking about the technology growth through the pandemic. Is that what you're talking about?
Sure, we can start anywhere. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, basically, like we were talking about like live shows and stuff like that, and obviously live streams and all that stuff is going to become more popular now due to the fact that nobody can go to anywhere, any shows and be around mass people. Right. And obviously, the need for a live stream service and quality live streaming, the ability to do all that thing is now more than ever. So what drives ingenuity is obviously the need, you know, the demand for it. So, which is going to mean that this time, and the longer it lasts, the more people will see this as the new norm and potentially gravitate towards it more and try harder to make the best live show online as possible. And we're going to see lots of new creativity come out of that. You know, like different ways to do things.
Right.
So
for sure.
It's kind of exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you were saying
it's exciting, but
saying,
I'm also worried that I hope we don't lose our live.
Do you think live shows might just go away?
Yeah, and that's what I hope it doesn't get to that point. Like that's the extreme end of it. If they see this as the new norm so much, like these diseases and viruses that are running rampant or whatever, and this becomes the new norm. Like we have a coronavirus season, and nobody can go out during it or some shit. You know, just throwing it out there. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know, but if we see that though, then you could lose the ability to even go to shows. What if they put a max cap on any show forever? You know, like just like no, we're not gathering more than 2,000 people a night, or or whatever, just because the potential for a viral outbreak is too prevalent. You know, I hope that we don't get there.
I don't know, because I mean it might be similar to like what happened to air travel after 9/11. Like there might be some more things put into place, but it's not like they said, all right, no more air travel.
No, right. They didn't throw it all the way to like, and that's what I'm saying. It might not be like they throw it all away, but there might be like a season or a time that they say, all right, we're not doing concerts. Like, what if it was just like every February and March they were like, no, we're not doing concerts because that's when that virus breaks out.
Well, that's I mean that's not obviously there's still concerts during those times, but that's the slow season for sure. Concert season is over the summer. So it's not like there's tons and tons of shows going on. Now there are shows, but it's not anything like the summer where every day a new tour is coming through your city.
Yeah, this is going to bleed into the summer, of course, this time because nobody was really prepared for this kind of thing. Nobody saw it coming, so I think the spread is worse than it probably would ever be in the future, unless there's another new one. You know what I mean? That's the thing we're always kind of waiting on, the next new disease, the next new virus. But this one, hopefully, we would mitigate a lot by next year. You know, hopefully we'd even have vaccines by then. Right. And maybe all this will blow over even quicker. Maybe they'll have the vaccines before summer, and everybody could go back to normal. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just the uncertainty.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. You don't know what you're going to plan for. So the you could get ahead of it really, like and start really planning on how you're going to do live stream events or do live show recordings, that kind of thing. And you can really be proactive about it, or you can look at it like, well, maybe we should need to get our next album ready and spend all this time that we have now in the studio and then come out and plan for things to be back to normal again. So it's kind of a gamble a little bit, like in just the uncertainty of it all, and everything is like that. Everything is uncertain. You could think you have the greatest plan ever, and then tomorrow there's a new law or a new something that changes, that whole thing, and you have to start it back over. You never know. So that's kind of the what we're faced with right now. And I think though you're gonna see this experience get better, the live shows and streaming live, and it'll be more interactive. Hopefully we get to a point where we can get higher quality. We were talking a little bit about OSO headphones, which is kind of just one of those innovations that came through, or that could become more necessary through this this kind of period, where it's basically those OSO headphones are 3D.
So you're saying OSO, OSO?
OSSO. So there's two S's.
OSSO. What does that mean?
Yes. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly. It must have some, maybe it's a acronym of some sort. I don't know.
Okay, I only see, there's a company called OSO.
Okay. You're not seeing an OSSO?
OSSO just brings up the OSO company.
Did you pipe in headphones afterwards, and maybe it's like
yeah. Maybe I try 3D.
Maybe I'm not sure, but they were coming out with them at some point.
Here's OSIC, OSIC.
That's what it is. It's OSIC. It's OSIC. That's them. Okay, sorry, I remember the name wrong. Okay. Glad you found that. So yeah, the OSO headphones could potentially make the live experience from home better if you're basically what it is multiple speakers inside the headphones that can really give you detailed nuances to music and really put you in the space of the music that's being made, however it's being made. I don't know. I don't know how they exactly do it. If it's like a live show where the drums are in one spot, the guitars are in one spot, and then the vocals come from another spot. Or if it's more like just coming from you forward and you turn your head and you kind of get a little different, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what's going on here. Now I see the funding period for this Kickstarter. It's on Kickstarter. Was February 23rd to April 21st, 2016.
Right. So that's when I first saw them.
So
I remember that.
What happened to these? I haven't heard anything about.
I don't know. Me neither. And I wondered that too.
Must have failed.
I remember hearing either they failed or they just made a one run and they weren't that. I don't know. Maybe they didn't work out.
The videos they have here on their YouTube are not available. They have the not showing up thing.
Oh, shit. Well, then I don't know then. That's interesting. But something like that, you know what I mean? That my whole point was not just to give them a shout out specifically, but to recognize that the push in technology could come now more than ever because everybody is stuck at home, and then this kind of innovation could make the music experience potentially streamable and much better. What?
I moved to the comments section, and every comment is something along the lines. When filing a claim, does anyone know? As I've not received my reward, I declare a refund to be paid in full. Has anyone outside the U.S. filed court? Got my emails. Hope we get something back. Submit your claim for reimbursement. Apparently it's just a shit show.
Nobody got their product. Everybody paid in, and nobody got their product.
Yeah. Oh, and dude, it looks like they raised over almost $3 million.
Right. I remember it being. That's why I thought for sure this is going to happen. I saw how much money they were raising.
Their goal was 100,000. They raised almost 3 million.
Right. What the hell? Was it a scam?
I doubt it was a scam. It probably just flopped.
It probably just flopped. Something fell apart. Somebody didn't calculate for something. But when you have $3 million to do a $100,000 project, what the hell?
Yeah, man, that's interesting. Anyways, for sure. When were those comments?
So we talked about the headphones, and then you mentioned too. Obviously, virtual reality is getting more popular and more. That's better, more quality.
Right. So you could potentially see virtual reality concerts, coupled with, 3D audio or audio in some way. And the one thing I was thinking that we were talking about from a business standpoint. How would that work from a business standpoint? Because my thinking was you would have, so like if you're on a tour, you'd play Dallas one night and then Atlanta and then Charlotte and then New York and whatever. Yeah. You'd have all these different dates with different people at each one. But with a live stream, it's not technically like that.
You can reach
You
the
could
whole
offer-
world in one stream.
You could do the whole world in one day, or if, obviously some people can't make that day, maybe you do a week where you do the same show every night at the same big warehouse with lights and fire and crazy new ways to bring fans in because you're playing to one person.
If it's virtual reality, Dallas, think about the possibilities of making that set around the person that's in the virtual reality, world.
Yeah, you could have live music videos.
Dude, you could have people's bodies flying everywhere. You could have people crowd surfing while you're standing there and people are just like floating by you and people are jumping around. Like, if say you're just set back just a little bit, from the stage, so you get a really good view of the stage, what's going on, which would be, I don't know how they superimpose the musicians in place, and then everything else around them is virtual, and everything else around the musicians could be like fire. It could be whatever setting you want it to be,
Yeah, like a, you're basically playing a video game at that point.
You'd be put the musicians on a green screen or whatever, and then you'd have to, yeah. Dude, that's not a bad idea to film a show on a green screen and then figure out how to make it a virtual reality show.
You'd be, you're talking big money, but you could also make big money because
definitely.
you could monetize an entire tour in one night.
Right. And you get everybody, and you could just sell the show to like anybody who has a virtual reality system can buy the show, and then they can watch.
Well, yeah, you could do a $5, $10, $20 whatever admission price, like a ticket, no fees, just a flat $25.
So a live event almost. So it's one time you get to watch it, and then if you want to watch it again, you can watch it next month when we play it again or whatever.
You could potentially buy it at the end, and that's a great idea. And then what you can do is, where a normal show, I think the biggest show ever was Rod Stewart's show, right? Let me see. Let's look this up real quick.
That's a good question.
Biggest
what was the
live concert ever? It's this Rod Stewart concert.
Bruce Springsteen?
Yeah.
You sure?
$3.5 million.
Wow! Holy shit! And was it a live stream?
You have to see the pictures of this, and unfortunately, you're not on our video right now because your camera's faced away from you.
I can't sit.
It is unbelievable how big this concert is.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, I mean, there's some big
but
ones
anyway,
I've seen
so
at the
let's say,
festivals in
the
Europe.
biggest concerts besides that's kind of an outlier. The biggest concerts, let's say,
monumental,
huge festivals, 100,000, 150,000, right? Well, on this, if you go online to a live stream, you could have 3.5 million almost easy. If you're someone like Guns N' Roses or a bigger band,
if you're selling,
you could pull 6 million.
$10 a ticket. If you're selling $1 a ticket, dude, and there's no overhead, you cut your overhead. Well, there's some overhead wherever you're shooting the video. That's your overhead. You don't have to.
Your overhead, and it depends if
you're
how much technology you're bringing in as well.
Exactly right. So there's
because
obviously
that's where your money's going to
produce
come.
the show. Right, the cost to produce the show, but the cost of traveling is out the window, dude. You don't have to fucking get the whole band a flight. You don't have to get all the instruments there somehow.
Well, it depends because you're probably still. Now we're talking about this on a big scale. Of course, we all live in the same area, but if you're talking about a big band, the people are probably spread out across the United States at least, or wherever.
Right.
You got to get them all in one place. You got to get all the equipment, rent whatever warehouse, let's say you're doing or whatever.
Think about the ability to potentially stream yourself in front of a green screen, and then they put all the bands in, they superimpose them into this live stream experience or whatever. And I don't know how it would look. They'd have to make it look really good, but potentially you could stream each individual from home separate and superimpose them onto the stage.
That's true. Yeah, that requires kind of spreading because you're going to have certain technology. I'm envisioning some sort of crazy fancy camera.
Yeah.
And lights and all that stuff and people to operate those things. And now you've just quintupled that if there's 5 of you.
Yeah, you need a 3D camera, correct? Is that how they shoot virtual
I have no idea.
stuff?
I have no idea what it would be, but you would need something.
Or is it all animated? Is all virtual reality animated?
I'm sure you're looking at something like a video game.
Right. Right.
So you'd be teaming up. Completely. You'd be teaming up with like video game developers or animators, graphic artists.
It would be
those.
People. Yeah, it'd be those suits that you put on with the balls on them that basically are all like on your joints, like
motion capture suit, a mocap suit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you'd be in one of those suits, and then you'd be recorded on a green screen or blue screen, whatever the screen color is.
What a mocap suit does is it allows them to capture your motion and then animate it later. So like if they wanted to make you a dragon,
you're animated. Exactly. So that's what you'd be. So that's what I think how they would do the virtual reality thing. You'd have to wear one of those suits, and they would virtual virtualize you. Essentially, you'd be wearing whatever you wanted to, like whatever they wanted you to wear. Like, you know how it goes, right? So that'd be interesting. You could be like, you know how this is funny. Guitar Hero, like all the characters are just like crazy characters.
Yeah.
You just make yourself as crazy as you want to be. You wouldn't have to look good because you can just make yourself look different.
Right. You could be video game characters, basically. Then once you enter that world, the possibilities are completely limitless.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So, like, I see this as like a potentially pushing us into more of this area that's already being explored. It's already being tested, and people are trying to push it and be innovative in it, you know? And this is just going to be more of a demand for that, or more of a need, you know what I mean? That we can...
Yeah, because we were talking like any advancement in technology. Let's take the move to streaming from albums. Let's take that as an example. Right. You had two schools of thought. There were the people that were interested in streaming and looking to make it profitable and move into that new realm, who saw the change coming. And you had the old school people who were like, man, streaming sucks. I'll take my albums any day. And then those people are all out of business now.
And you have people who believe CDs are better. You have people who believe a lot of different things. But ultimately, what it's going to always win, as we talk about this, is convenience and cost. Like, it's going to drive, you know what I mean? Even the quality we've seen does not matter. They've cut the quality of music for streaming sites by so much now. Right, you know what I mean? Like, when you're reduced down to 16 bits and MP3. So that is not the highest quality version you can get. Now, how much the human ear can even differentiate, there's obviously that, but I think as a whole, when you listen to music that's been the quality's been cut, like whatever you want to call it, like it's been compressed
degraded
down to be smaller, right? Degraded in whatever way. When you listen to it like on a big system, I think you probably feel it as a whole. It's hard to discern exactly what is gone from it, but it's just like less pieces of the puzzles. Like there's, you know, instead of every piece being filled in, or which would be vinyl. I think vinyl is the analog version. There's no cuts out of it. Basically, what they're doing to compress the songs is they're taking microscopic cuts out of it, and you know, there's not as much data there. You know,
right?
If you look at it just, so. I think they'll get better at that too. There's another thing I think they're going to get better at. It's compressing sound quality and keeping the quality. You know what I mean?
Well, have you ever seen the show Silicon Valley on HBO?
Yep. And they talk about that a lot, and that's
that whole show is about that. It's about a startup company that creates an algorithm to compress files. So basically, it delivers. Now this is all fictional, but basically, it delivers a completely lossless file. So let's say a WAV audio file instead of an MP3, but at a size that's like half the size of an MP3.
Exactly. So it just basically makes it even more convenient to store and be able to stream it, be able to access it.
So in the show, they basically created like a Dropbox alternative, but way better.
And a compression, algorithm that actually just, it's like almost a zip file. You know, like it zips it up or whatever, and then you can store it anywhere with way less space. So it's it's super interesting. The analogy at the end of the first season, Dallas, I'm assuming you've seen it all.
Oh, dude, I just finished watching the newest season, and I'm so sad I'm done. It's one of my favorite shows.
Me too. The first season, last episode, dude. I almost fucking died. I don't want to like ruin it for everybody.
Well, it's a viral scene. You guys might have seen it, but check it out.
Oh yeah, it's probably true actually. It's basically about how their compression algorithm works and how they came up with it.
It's how Richard, the main character, it's how he comes up with the idea.
It's the ultimate compression algorithm, and it's hysterical. Watching them all play it out is so fucking funny. Anyways, Silicon Valley, just as if you like are, I think it's pretty good. It's obviously not real. It's a fictional show, but it's really on the nose as far as like the way this technology kind of thing works, like how they're living, how all these guys that are trying to make it in the technology world start out, and what the process is. Kind of it's enlightening in that way, you know, to show you like how these apps and how these programs are developed and how technology has progressed, you know, and what they're doing. So super interesting. Like they live in an incubator, and it's so funny why they call it an incubator, where all these nerds are getting together, and I say nerds with love. They're getting together to create the best ideas they can, brainstorm, you know, and they're all working together to kind of do it, but they're also on their own. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows, and it's one of the funniest shows. It is so funny.
Who's the guy that plays Erlich?
TJ Miller.
Yes, he is unbelievably hilarious.
Yeah,
He's
have you
got
seen his
so much,
stand-up,
like-
though? He's a weird
Yes.
fucking guy.
It's weird, but I dig it too. I think it's funny. I like him.
Well,
I like him a
weird
lot.
as in, like, the first thing he does is he comes out and he dumps a bucket of water on himself. It's like almost like
Right,
he's more like a
right.
circus clown than a stand-up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he has
It's
some
some type of
bits that are
physical comedy.
really, really funny, but his style is way out there.
Yeah, but I don't mind it, man, because I dig it. I kind of understand where he's coming from. I even see it in that show. I see his style being like out there.
Yeah,
but
for
the
sure.
show sometimes somehow
and
makes
you know
it
he
work,
was he was removed from the show, right?
Yeah, I forget what happened, but he was removed.
Basically, from what I understand, they were trying to say it as nicely as they could, but he was just too far down with drugs and alcohol, and they couldn't be around him. He was just pain in the ass.
Wow.
So,
Well, there you go. Don't let it go too far.
and again, that's not my words. That's what I saw.
That's what. Yeah.
I don't know.
So
the guy.
what?
He's probably cool.
Yeah. I'm sure he's a cool guy. It's just that people get wrapped up in that, and then they can't get work done. You know, it becomes hard to be efficient.
For sure.
So hey, you were mentioning something called Quello earlier.
Yeah, let's
you
take a
wanna
look
tell
at it.
a little bit
So
more about
shout out
that?
to my buddy Colton Beasley, the singer for Osara. A while
What up,
ago, this is years ago, he messaged me and was like, hey, you got to get Quello. So Quello is basically Netflix for live concerts and live music, music videos, music documentaries, music, mostly concerts. So
That's awesome.
Quello spelled Quello. No U.
Yep.
As Matt
No
pointed
U.
out, that's not how Q's work, but that's not what they decided. So I guess this could be pronounced Kello, but
It could be. It's a good. Yeah, I don't wonder what the.
I've
what
always
the
heard
Q
and
is.
said Quello. So anyway, yeah, you guys
Yeah.
should check this out. Now here's something I really don't like. We're looking, if you're on the YouTube with us, we're looking at the website right now. If you're on the audio, head over to Quello.com, check it out. Here's something I don't like when companies do. You can't, at least I haven't so far, been able to find how much this service costs. Now I subscribed to it in the past, and I remember it was very cheap. It was like $5.99 a month, $6.99 a month, something like that.
Yeah, so was Netflix when it first started, so it could potentially be up there now.
Right in the range
But yeah.
of Disney Plus and stuff. But what they make you do is try Quello for free. They're going to give you your free trial. Select a plan. And I have an account. Let me see if I can sign in and find this out. I had an account.
Yeah, see if you can sign in.
I
it'd be
found it.
interesting to-
$11.99 a
subs-
month or $100 for a year. So 2 months free if you do that.
Oh, it's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad, and that's cool. I mean, if I could see myself even doing something like that, because I watch like most of what I watch is on like YouTube, just because that's where all the live shows that I know are on.
Yeah,
but,
and this
there's not
think
really
of
that
this
much on
as
Netflix.
like a huge library,
Database,
just
Yeah,
a
archive.
bookcase full of DVDs. You know,
Dude, that'd be so sweet.
you're gonna
I
have
might do
you're
it.
gonna have so many concert DVDs. Like here, talk me through some of your favorites, Matt. Let's see if they have it.
Okay, look up Richie Kotzen. This would be interesting because this one I watch on YouTube a lot.
And Richie Kotzen's a little deeper of an artist.
Yeah,
I have
that's why,
no
that's why I
results for
chose
Richie
him.
Kotzen, unless I spelled his name wrong, but I don't think I did.
It's with a K.
I have no results for Richie Kotzen.
Okay, so how about let's go Guns N' Roses, see what they have for them.
Guns N' Roses, they have, because I just looked this up before we started.
Oh, okay.
They have something called Rock Case Studies, which to me sounds like Behind the Music.
It does, yep.
And then they have the Freddie Mercury tribute concert, which has most of the members of GNR in it. And then they have Slash, they have the Made in Stoke video, but they don't have a lot of like Guns N' Roses.
Damn.
Live
See,
shows
I
at
wondered.
least.
Yeah, I was hoping they would have Chinese Chinese.
I was hoping they would too. Now keep in
That was
mind
a
they do
great
more
show.
than just rock. So here, let me just
Right.
shout some of the ones I see here.
Okay.
Well, here you go. Quello Essentials, Green Day. It's literally called Awesome as Fuck. That's hilarious.
And see, that's probably stuff you can't even get on YouTube. I bet Green Day is better about like keeping their stuff off of YouTube and I know even Guns is like that about some stuff, but like some of the bigger bands can.
That's got to be
can
frustrating
pay to
for
have their
sure.
stuff. I'm sure.
Jimi
yeah.
Hendrix plays Berkeley classic albums, which okay, I love the classic album series. I've learned so much from that series. Here's Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, Queen, Single Video Theory,
Nice.
Pearl Jam, Matt's favorite band, Ladies and Gentlemen by the Rolling Stones, David Gilmour live at Pompeii, Eric Clapton.
Nice, dude. Those are all
kinds
awesome.
of
I would watch
stuff.
every one of those. And they're
And
the
I
kind of
think-
stuff you wouldn't think to look up or like whatever, because Eric Clapton, you know, like I don't know. Like I don't ever think to look him up, even though I love his music and stuff like that. But I guarantee you watch a full show of Eric Clapton, and like there's more than one song by him, and obviously,
right? Oh, for sure.
I bet
And they have a lot of documentaries,
amazing.
music documentaries. They have the Eagles one on here.
Nice.
Here's Iron Maiden, the Book of Souls live chapter.
Nice. That's their
So that'd be
latest
the newest
album.
thing. Yeah, the newest one. But then you have James
nice.
Brown, Coldplay, Marvin Gaye, Maroon 5, Alabama Shakes, Madonna, Michael Bublé, Hall & Oates, Leonard Skinner, Coachella.
How many? Does it anywhere like advertise how many videos they actually have on there?
I'm sure they say it somewhere. Let's find out.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know, man. Because
About
like
us.
how many fucking. I'd just be interested in how many live videos are out there by major artists, obviously. Like I said, I watch like most of my live videos on YouTube because you can even find like fan footage on here. They're not all perfect live videos, but man, the ones that are
Right.
like the
Now,
good, well-produced live videos are
for me,
really worth it.
I
like
can't
those.
stand fan footage. I as soon as I see fan footage, I'm gone. I can't even watch it.
I'll take a chance. I'll take a chance on some fan footage, but it's got to be of a certain quality, or I'm like, nope, not gonna work. I'll take a chance because sometimes
You're always just staring at the back of someone's
head.
head while the speakers clip.
Yeah.
It's just like this is
Yeah.
not what I want to see. Like,
Well, that's true too. It's not just the phone, but it's the actual camera person. Some people shake the whole time, or some people are singing into the camera.
yeah. Oh
Have you ever
yeah.
heard those?
Oh yeah. Oh
Those are
yeah. And then
great.
they put it on YouTube, like someone wants to watch that.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you showing me your voice over top of my favorite artist.
Yeah. So here's a
Yeah,
good
so-
way to get all the pro shot.
You take a chance several reasons on a fan
professional
footage
quality.
because of the phone quality and also
Great
like,
audio, all the good stuff.
Yeah, and that's actually kind of what I wanted to talk about a little bit too. I had a little bit of an idea to make basically a YouTube playlist of live artists that are worth checking out. And while we're obviously quarantined right now, and most of the world and country is not going to shows, I'd say almost everybody. It'd be a good time to like get your live fix, man. I love waking up in the morning, putting on a live show and just listening to it, especially when they're well produced and lots of camera angles, like full thing. And then you
with good audio,
hour and a half,
all that
hour,
stuff.
2 hours. It's amazing, and the experience of watching a live show really is like as far as the visual part, it's better to watch, But as far as audio, I think that's where they're still trying to catch up, trying to make that audio experience the same as being in a room with a drum kit and a half stack. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to get that feeling into headphones. I don't know if they'll ever get it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's no different than a record, though. It's no different than an album.
Yes, exactly. But when you go to a show, you know that it's not the record, and you know it's not the album. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you go to a show, you're still getting a different experience. How are we going to get that experience?
Yeah,
into
the tactile
live?
is the missing sense that we're not going to have, and we have to figure out a way around that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like driving a car in a simulator on a video game or whatever. If you've ever used a steering wheel on a video game, like that it's not the same. It's like it's very different. Like to actually being behind the wheel and feeling the friction of the tires rubbing the road, and feeling the G forces on your body as you make a corner or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that.
And
that's the difference that you lose.
Back to the
and
concert
it takes a
thing,
huge element
hearing
out
the
of it,
roar of the crowd, that's something that can't really be recreated.
Exactly. And exactly. And how think about how much the crowd reaction gets you excited when you're in with the crowd. You know what I mean? The crowd reaction is important.
Yeah.
If everybody's
Well, it's like if
singing,
you're at a comedy
everybody's
show
jumping
and everyone
around,
laughs, you laugh.
Exactly. Well, it helps. It definitely helps the laughter. It helps procure the laughter. But the live show thing, like there's bodies everywhere. There's there's a huge feeling of being in a group of people and then everybody loving the same music. That's a hard feeling to just get out of a live stream. And not to mention just the sound quality that you're hearing it come directly from the instruments, themselves. You're not hearing, even a record is a reproduced version of a live show, or a live performance.
Right.
So
now here's a metaphor that I heard. I actually think I heard this on Silicon Valley, and it works so well for so many things. But I think that's kind of what we're dealing with here. Like, for example, we're asking the question, how do we recreate that feeling? And then here's the metaphor. So in the UK in whatever year, long time ago, when they had horses, they started to do math, and they determined that at a certain point, we're going to have so many people that have so many horses that we're not going to have the capability to handle all the waste that the horses create. So, so how do we handle that? And they did all this math and decided that at this point in history, this is where we're going to be at a breaking point. And what they didn't see coming was the car. something totally different that made
Exactly.
that problem completely obsolete.
Exactly.
So we're looking at a similar thing here. We might be seeing something new come along that changes that question entirely.
Exactly, and the need is there for it. So that's what's even set this storm up to be perfect. Basically, is now we're all trapped inside. Like before, it was cool. It was kind of a cool thing. Oh, look, they can show a show from their laptop now. You can actually watch a show from your laptop. But also, you can still go see a show, and it doesn't replace a show. Now we can't go see a show. So here's where the innovation comes from. It's like we need to figure out how we're going to make this better.
Necessity,
now
yeah. Innovation stems from necessity.
Everybody's putting their brains together. Yeah, and it's just way more necessary. It's more.
Now here's something I just thought of that we hadn't even considered. The method we're talking about is a pay-per-view method, no different than the UFC.
Right.
You don't hear anyone complaining about I'm not at the UFC fight. I'm sure being at the fight is better than watching on TV, but you never hear that complaint from people that buy the pay-per-view.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a really good point. I don't think though that you're not losing the biggest thing about a concert is the quality of the sound. Like that's why people go. Like that's what the original attraction was. Whereas the quality of the sound, even like the quality of the visual is better at home on a UFC fight. You know what I mean? Like and same with a live show too. But you're not losing the quality of sound from a UFC fight. You don't care. And actually, you're probably getting better quality. You can actually hear the guy grunt because they've got those microphones that they aim with a dish and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So you even get better sound quality than we get at a thing. And for me, I don't really want to go to a UFC fight, dude. Like those things go bad. When they go bad, they go really bad. Like they turn into riots and fist fights everywhere. I wouldn't want to go. I'd rather just watch it at home. But the concert hasn't gotten there.
Obviously not as bad as that, but similar things happen all the time.
Yes, well, there's like mosh pits, and people don't want to be in a mosh pit.
I'm talking about like riots and shit as well.
Sure, and riots. Guns, obviously, has had their share
violence,
of
fights, people spilling beer on each other and then punching each other. Like, just nonsense. Just animals, just a bunch of animals together.
When you put a bunch of people together, you have different types of people, and they all rub elbows, and you have issues, and that's what happens. So, but yeah, it is a pay-per-view type thing, and maybe that is the route, because sustainability, as far as like just releasing a live video for free for everybody, I don't know that that's a necessarily like a best method for people to do. Like a live show per pay-per-view, you could do more of those. You could do like 4 or 5 shows a year, or 6 shows a year, and just spread them out or whatever and do them for everybody.
And consider the fact I don't know anything about pay-per-view. I don't care about UFC. I never have, so I don't know anything about that world. But from what I understand, people will get together in groups, much like a Super Bowl party. Someone will buy the fight, or they'll all pitch in or whatever, and they'll all watch it. So you could do the same thing here. So you might, how much does a pay-per-view cost?
$60, sometimes $100, depending on like the Conor McGregor stuff. When they get
so
really
more
hyped
expensive
up
because they're expecting you to have people with you, I guess. Right?
Not only that, but it's just how much of a demand there is for this thing. Like they can charge more money for it, man. Like and plus, like I think when you have streaming large like pay-per-view stuff like that, I'm not sure, but I think they have a problem with if they have too many people logged onto that stream.
Yeah, servers will crash and stuff for sure.
Right, so I think they still have to.
You think they would have planned for that?
The more servers they have to have, the more servers they have to have, the more they have to charge for the event. Maybe I don't really know how that works, but I'm sure the cost still goes up a little bit. And it might be that I didn't even think about that. Concerts worldwide, you'd have that same issue. You'd have to have some really strong server base, and maybe there'll be companies that come out and lend their server base for that type of thing, and that's how you do something like that.
Yeah. Now you're going to have pushback on moving to that kind of model from the big companies.
Yeah, for sure.
Think about all the arenas, all the companies that own the arenas, all the ticketing companies that are now going to not have a job because we found a way around it. Assuming this obviously takes off. I don't really see.
Playing devil's advocate.
I don't know that I see at this point something totally replacing the live experience because that seems difficult. But I think this is absolutely something you could do to supplement the live experience.
Right. Exactly, and this period is going to drive it. You know what I mean? Because if we have more periods like this, if if it becomes somewhat of a norm, or if it's just like even this period lasts a long time. If this period like that we're waiting for this coronavirus thing to blow over, if it takes 6 months, that's a lot of time for people to be thinking of ways to make their live show better online. And how they're going to do it. And you never know. We're going to see ideas, and then people will see those ideas, and they'll go, "Oh, that's what I'm going to do too." And then you're going to just see the whole thing evolve. With just the force of everybody doing it. I bet there are so many people, like I guess I would be one of those people who've never done a live stream as far like a way to do a live show, whatever. And here I am considering it. So I think you have the whole world kind of doing that right now as far as musicians go and non-musicians. People who do all kinds of things are taking to live streaming, You're doing your lessons through live streams now. You're doing your band practices through live
virtual
streams
lessons.
now.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things that are being kind of tested out or experimented with, and pushed farther, So we'll see how it all plays out. But yeah, I was. You got anything more you want to say on that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Because I was gonna say that I want to do a playlist, as we started to say earlier. I want to make a playlist of the best YouTube videos of to watch live and get a good live performance in, to kind of hold people over while we're waiting in this period. You know what I mean? Like you can, and also, if you're a musician and you're considering doing a live video, what better way to do some research and just watch a bunch of really good ones? So me and Dallas are going to put together a list of live shows that we enjoy and that have been done really well. Good artists, obviously, definitely going to fall into that, our favorite artists and stuff like that. And then there's the nice thing about YouTube is it's crazy is you can even go all the way back to the 80s, if somebody, obviously it was a lot harder to film a high quality video in the 80s. You had to have a lot more equipment, I'm sure it was a lot more difficult, but there were some done in the 80s and the 70s and whatnot. You can actually watch those. You can go watch the oldest videos there were. And I don't know, man, it's a huge wealth of knowledge and
so we're going to be making that playlist and it's going to be available on our YouTube channel for you guys.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
so
then
the only other playlist.
What are you thinking we should put on it? Do you have any ideas? Let's talk through some of our favorites.
Yeah. Definitely, like some of my go-tos for sure I want to put on there because I think, hopefully people find them entertaining as well. Richie Kotzen has a really good one from 2015, his entire show, which in 2015 is recent enough where it's got a lot of his newer materials in it and stuff like that. That's kind of big for me. Like the more recent, the more inclusive of a show you get. So when you're watching live shows, you'll notice, obviously, when you go back to way back when the artist just started, if they have a live video from back then, they might not have all their songs, that they hadn't written them all yet. So it's kind of an interesting game you play. Like, you want to go old and then kind of see where the artist kind of came from. Maybe their live show wasn't as good, but they play these songs or whatever, So, yeah, Richie Kotzen 2015 live is an awesome show. It's an hour and 45 minutes long. Dude, I was just looking at the views. 3.5 million views on that show since 2016.
Yeah, that's as many people were at that Rod Stewart concert.
Right. See, there you go. And this is obviously not a live one-time thing, but it's people watching it over and over. I'm probably 1 million of those views.
That's a lot.
Yeah. No, that would be if I was revolving it my whole life every day, just over and over and over. I don't think it would still be that much. But he's got 73.4 thousand subscribers. It's just It's a lot. It's a lot to be gathered from that. You can have a show that lives on forever.
For sure.
So we should make a list. What other do you want to add to it?
Oh God, here comes a yawn.
Oh, perfect timing.
One of my favorite shows that just absolutely blew me away was when I saw the 1975 live at the O2 Arena. That show was just mind blowing.
Yeah, and that's where's O2 at? Is that
it's in London, I think.
London, yeah, that's what I thought.
I know it's in the UK. Yeah, I think it's in London.
Cool, I just found it. I'm gonna add that to the list too.
Yeah, so dude, that's a great one. You'll have to watch that one too. The music's great, but think about it from a production perspective.
Right.
It's just phenomenal. Because anytime I see a live show, I'm asking myself, how did they do that? How did they go seamlessly from this song to the other one? But I see him on the computer. I assume they're using click tracks. Just light syncing. It's just insane how much stuff has to go on for that to be pulled off.
Exactly, and just a practice too. Like, you know what you might see. Here's something I didn't even fucking think about, dude. So if we get to the point where we're doing live streams, like say this is way in the future, even if it's not even just in the near future, but way in the future, we're all just live streaming videos, and it's not so much live shows anymore. How do you stay practiced? Like a lot of what staying practiced is actually playing shows. You're actually practicing to play shows. If you see like the amount of shows being played go down, will the musicianship go down, or will it be? I don't know.
Maybe for some, I think for others it'll go up because they have more time to actually practice stuff.
Right. So they just practice, and then by the time they do their live show, I guess so. Yeah.
How many hours have you guys spent running those same 8 songs? when now you don't have to run those. You could be writing new songs. You could be working on new stuff, because there's no show coming up with pressure to have those 8 perfect anymore.
Exactly. And we've talked about that. Actually, we don't play them together anymore very often. Actually, we all practice individually to keep the memory of the song in your head. That's really all you need once you've learned how to play a song. You just need to keep like what that song consists of in your head all the time.
Right.
And then most of the time you go back and you play it, you'll have it. It's not something you really have to relearn. But if you practice it on your own and you are listening to it and stuff like that, then everybody should be good. And then we can all just focus when we get together, when we actually have the time and the fortunate ability to get together. Right now, everybody's kind of wishing they can get together, but when you have the time to get together, you can use it as productive and actually make new things, create, or work on recording, or just work on polishing and getting, a final product of something.
Another live video I have here. There's a video of Train playing live, and it's like really, really early. I think it might be 2000.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is it. Okay, so it's Train full concert. Here it is here at the top. For those of you just listening, Train full concert. It was November 3rd, 2000 at the Fillmore Auditorium in San Francisco. And there's one thing that really stands out to me. The show itself is really fun. First of all, you get to see Train. This is before the album Drops of Jupiter came out, which was their second album. So this is before that album even comes out.
Right.
And a couple highlights are you get to see the band, like the original 5 guys playing music together, which is really cool. Perhaps the biggest highlight, they play Drops of Jupiter live for the first time ever. And it's caught on footage. And you can watch them play that song
yet.
Before the crowd knows it. Nobody knows it. They barely know it. It's real rough. And it's really fun to watch that.
See, that's exactly what I was talking about. Like, when you get into digging into these live shows, you kind of realize that, like, oh, yeah, it's almost like a time warp. You get to go back in time, but before people knew the song. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, you watch a crowd react to that song for the first time. Before it was on the radio, and it was a huge, major success, and everybody, now I'm sure everybody just sings it. I'm sure they don't even have the ability to sing that song without the rest of the crowd singing it. You know what I mean?
Did you add the O2 Arena show to the playlist, or do I need to?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Well, cool. I didn't add it. I'm making a playlist right now on my.
Oh, I got
account,
it. I just added it to the playlist for you.
Okay. Cool. Perfect. Because I can do it later. But yeah, if you're signed into it now, this computer's just too slow to do it, dude. Every time I pull up a video, it takes 5 minutes to just pull the video up. So
yeah, the only 2 in there right now that I see are the 2 that I just added. But anyway, yeah, you guys can go back to that.
Yeah, I'll do it for sure.
Doing the
but yeah, so I just think it's a good time to kind of do that. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna be inside and be home, like make the most of it as a musician, and we're always learning, we're always trying to be better, creative minds or whatever, and all that. So just, I don't know, spend your time wisely. Like, for instance, everybody's watching that Tiger King show. And I got sucked into it. I had to check it out. The memes were just too much. I was like, what is this show about? Like, the memes were so out there that I was just like, I don't even know what the show's about. It's called Tiger King, so I imagine it's something about tigers.
I didn't either, and I've since done a little bit of research, but
yeah, it's very interesting to me.
So I know what it's about, but I haven't seen it.
I'll really brief. I'm not going to spoil anything, but really briefly want to hit on why this is really related to the Musicians Talk Show a little bit, and not even seriously, obviously, but because the entire thing's a joke. So, he's a country music artist. The main character is also he writes his own country music about about tigers and about wild animals. Dude, I have not been entertained more thoroughly listening to than listening to those songs. Dude, it's so funny.
Oh God,
it's the maximum amount of cheese, and it's so. Dude, I can't even explain it to you. Just watch it. When they break right into the middle of the show, this is like all of a sudden, now we're watching a music video. And it's just so funny, dude.
Wait, so is this a documentary or is this a real show?
Yeah, it's a documentary on some real people who basically run private zoos. And there's 4 or 5 different zoos that they cover, and they kind of go back and forth, and they're all feuding. They're all fighting each other. They hate each other because they're in competition. And the main character, his name is Joe Exotic. And he's a country singer. I don't even know if you call him a country singer. It sounds like country to me when you hear it. But yeah, it's hilarious. He's from Oklahoma.
Oh God.
Dude, I'm telling you, you're gonna love this, Dallas. You gotta watch it though with an open mind and go into it thinking like this is not meant to be. Just use it as a window into this guy's life, into these people's lives. And I can't express how funny it is to me. Like, I already think there's gonna be a spinoff. There's a meme going around of the guy who does Kenny Powers, Danny McBride. Of
And Dax Shepard and David Spade.
Yeah,
and all
exactly. They have all the characters figured out. They already know who's gonna be who, and they're just like, this would be the best movie ever.
Yep.
If they redid it as a mockumentary type thing, or however they decided to do it, it'd just be great, I'm sure. But anyways, watch that. Everybody go watch that. But don't get too distracted. Keep making music and keep watching live shows and stuff. That's basically what I was getting into.
There you go.
Because you get sucked into all these new Netflix shows coming out, man. All the stuff, Hulu, everything.
Yeah, and Disney Plus went ahead and released a bunch of stuff early.
So they know everybody's sitting at home. It's the best time
They released
to do it.
Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, I think, 1 week early, and then they released Frozen 2 straight to Disney Plus on like 2 months early or something.
Wow. And they made a big push to get everybody on Disney Plus too because they gave it away for free, right?
There's a few ways you can get it for free. They have a free trial like everywhere else, but also if you have Verizon or maybe Sprint or T-Mobile,
that's
on
what
one
it
of
was.
them, you get
It was Verizon.
A free year, I think, of Disney Plus.
I think that's what it was. I remember getting the thing in the
Disney
mail
Plus
saying
is
that if
pretty cheap though. It's $7.
yeah,
So
whatever
it's the
it is,
cheapest streaming
the fact
service
that
by
they're
far.
the fact that they're giving it away is going to make it more accessible to people. You know, if you already have Verizon, you get an email like me, which I'm imagining a lot of people are on Verizon. Like there's a huge chunk of the cell phone population is on Verizon. I don't know that, but
Yeah.
so if everybody on Verizon network gets a message, an email saying, "Hey, you got Disney Plus for free. Just type in this code." Most likely people are going to check it out. Even me, like I don't even like Disney that much. Like it's you know, primarily there's a lot of kids stuff, but now that Star Wars is on Disney, I mean, fuck. I thought to myself, I'm going to have a Star Wars watch party.
Yeah,
You know,
Star
watch all the-
Wars
or whatever,
and Marvel
marathon.
are the big two draws.
Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like the fact that they got everybody on it like that though is a big move to be able to release movies direct to Disney Plus.
Yeah. Now, The Rise of Skywalker is not on Disney Plus yet, to my knowledge. They released it on digital first, so you have to buy it at, you know, I bought it on Amazon or whatever, but and then I don't know
That's
when it
another
comes to
big one,
Disney Plus,
Amazon.
but
Yeah. How you holding up on toilet paper?
we're good.
Yeah, we're good too. Well, we're good for a while at least. Hopefully they restock the shelves. I mean, we didn't go overboard.
No, we actually just needed some. Like we were out right around the time everyone started going nuts. So it looked
I
like
remember
we
you
were
telling
there.
me-
Now, of course, we didn't buy 10 of them. We just bought our normal one little pack, same thing we always buy. And
I remember you saying that. You're like, listen, dude, I'm not the same as you. We're just getting one.
Yeah. No. I'm not an idiot. Hold on.
He's like, you think we should get more?
Yeah. The mouth breathers should get even more. The rest of us.
Totally.
Anyways, I
Anyways,
mean, let's talk about
let's keep
some
adding
closing thoughts here. We don't have a lot more to left.
Yeah. No, not really. I'm gonna keep adding to the live show list, and I'm personally gonna be watching that. The nice thing is you can just put it on in the background and hopefully get some stuff done. And there's a live show going on.
Yeah, you should check out those
know,
two. I recommended as well. Add those to your list.
Yes, I'm definitely going to. But I think it's a good idea, you know. And
of
we'll
course,
share the list on our
Guns N'
socials and
Roses
stuff.
'92 live in Tokyo. They made some DVDs from that one, but
Yep.
watch
Live
those.
at the Ritz
Those
is
are
a
good.
really good one. As far as like an early one, you want to see like an early one of why they blew up as fast as they did. I always look at that one because, dude, who was bringing it that hard back then? In '88, the Ritz, dude, they were on fire back then. I love that's the one where somebody grabs like Slash's guitar right in the middle of his guitar solo,
Right,
and it's so
right.
easy or something like that, and he like yanks his guitar back. He's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, you know,
Yeah,
I think he even maybe kicked him. I'm not sure, but I think that's so funny. Like back then, that they were just, you know, rabid fans back then for stuff like that because nobody had done it yet. Nobody had been that aggressive and that I don't know, whatever you want to call it, hard rock. I would almost say like they were the innovators, the out of classic rock and into the hard rock. Even though now Guns N' Roses is considered classic rock, I think that's bullshit, dude. Like why do they get clumped in with classic rock?
I've never thought of them as classic rock. Classic rock to
Me
me
neither.
is more than just a time period. It's a sound. And it's the sound of like softer
sound,
stuff.
yeah.
Boston, the Eagles, Styx, Journey. That's
Exactly.
classic rock.
Exactly. Yes.
I would
It is.
concede
And
that maybe they're classic hard rock or classic metal even, but
right, and that's what I said.
don't know.
That's what I said too. I considered them a metal band for their time. They came out as like almost a metal band, like hard rock to metal somewhere. Like they just had this grit to them. So like you could, and back then they were considered metal. Like glam metal was the whole thing. You know, Motley Crue was considered metal back then. So
yeah,
you know
hair
what I mean?
metal. I don't know. I mean, they're definitely going to play on the classic rock station. I get that.
Yeah,
But,
but here's the question: do they become oldies eventually? Is
I don't know
Guns
how
N'
that
Roses
works.
oldies?
Because I think what happens is
ever.
I haven't been around long enough to, or definitely been paying attention long enough
Music hasn't
to
been around
understand how something like that happens. Like oldies is a sound. It's not just old. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. But why the reason it got oldies is because eventually it became so outdated, and it just had that it's dated. You know, it has a very
Right, but that's just what we
distinct
called it.
sound. Right.
You know, like
Now,
Motown.
everything's not going to become oldies. You're not going to like clump that classic rock in with oldies when it gets old enough. Like it won't sound.
Right, well,
the same.
there's
It'll all
classic
sound
rock
different.
from the same time period, roughly, that we don't call oldies, even though it's from the same
Right.
time. So you have different classifications, regardless of time period. Like you
Right.
wouldn't call
It's more of
Madonna
a
classic
sound.
rock just because she was in the 80s.
But
you
isn't
know?
it weird when you label something based on almost like when you call something old or oldie, you know, like it's a time reference, you know, it's a reference towards time. So why are we calling our music based on like how old it is or whatever? We should have a name for everything. Like
Well, because
nowadays,
music
is that way.
does not
Subgenres.
happen in a vacuum, so it captures the time that it exists
Yeah.
in. So like if I were to say early 2000s, you can hear that in your head. If I were to say
Right,
70s,
that's
you can
true.
hear that.
That's
if I were to
true.
say 20s, you can hear that. You know,
Well,
so
it
there's
doesn't all sound
sounds
the
that
same.
happen.
Yeah, but like when you say 70s or 80s or 90s, whatever you say, like whatever, it doesn't necessarily all sound the same. And music had turning points in between those times too. Like so in 85, if something happened kind of where there's a turning point in music where everybody started doing disco or what, you know, like whatever the thing was, like it's when you say 80s, like it encompasses everything of the 80s, even that period that was a disco period and all that pop stuff that was going on at the time and all the rock and roll and then there was the punk stuff going on.
Right,
You know?
but it
So,
still
like when you
definitely has an 80s
has a sound because of the
you know?
technology more than anything. I think. Don't you think that?
Right, and that's a big
music
part of it.
is definitely a product of the technology it's replicated with. Because that's what we're doing. We're replicating
like everything everything the
sounds.
Beatles did just sounds like static is running through it just because of the way they had to record it. You know?
Stop. You're being dramatic. But
I
I agree
come
though
on.
that, like,
You're not going to sit there and tell me it doesn't sound like that. You can
Well,
hear
if you
like
wanna
the
say,
record,
like,
the
like a
tape
record,
turning.
every
Just like,
record-
through like the whole album.
right. Yeah, it's very subtle though. I mean, like it's not what you hear prominently. It has a color. It has like a color and a quality for sure. Just like an MP3 has a quality versus a FLAC file. You know what I mean? Like, but I think a lot of times they were probably hurt by their hardware that they were dealing with, what they were recording with. Like they didn't even have Pro Tools back then. You know, Beatles. So you know, and then as that stuff changed, you start hearing a quality difference. Like first of all, you start hearing music with no mistakes. When did that happen? When was that big period change where you think like to be a professional recording artist, there were no mistakes on it? Because obviously live
Probably once
recording,
Pro
when-
Tools and that stuff came out, which was in the 90s
I think-
sometime.
but it had to be some period after that. Like it took time for people to be like, oh shit, we can make a perfect record. I mean, it probably wasn't very long.
That stuff
after
happens
that, for
pretty
sure.
quick though.
Yeah, it wasn't very long after it, but I guarantee when did the normal or when the expectedness comes from, like, oh yeah, your music can't have mistakes in it, you know? And I guess obviously there are genres where that doesn't matter, like punk rock, they don't give a shit if there's a mistake in the recording.
Yeah, no, I
You know what I
never
mean?
really thought about that. I don't know.
But it definitely went to a more perfected sound, like when we got the ability to put our music in through the computer and edit and, you know what I mean, overdub, all that stuff. Overdubbing's been around for a long, long time, but you know, the being able to do it rapidly, like what Pro Tools allows you to do, and just, you know, stretching notes, deleting notes, repitching notes. You know, obviously you know all about that, just for your knowledge of the production side of things. So it's interesting, you know, how what the technology drives a lot of what we're doing all the time, like as far as how we can do it and what we can get done. So this is just another example, like this period we're going through is another example of that. Like we're gonna find ways to work around the fact that we can't play a live show.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll see all the different ways people do it. We're already starting to see stuff. I saw that. I had such a really strong idea, I think, to come out with a quarantine video like right off the bat, and I approached you with it, Dallas, and we talked about it, and to get this done quickly before everything like really locks down. And here now we're at the point where it's basically like it's really hard to get.
It's too late. Yeah.
Right. But I did see that some bands, we were going to do live from quarantine, and now there are bands that are doing that exact thing in almost the exact fashion that I would have done it. Like I see it as like the same vision they had basically.
Yeah, everybody's coming out. I mean, it's not like, I mean, it's a good idea, but it's not necessarily a unique idea. Everybody was going to have that idea eventually.
But wouldn't it be a race to that idea then, right? Because if I hadn't seen it yet and you were the first one to do it, then you have the idea. And I think as soon as you start promoting the idea, you have the idea. So even if you have the footage and it's done, it's just being finalized or whatever, and you start promoting it, you've still beaten everybody to it. Like
right, but it's not like that
it's not
crazy
like
of a
it's something
leap
you can claim.
It's not like
it's not something you can claim, but you want to be the first in anything you do because that's going to be the most views. First of all, it's going to have been out longer than everything else, so will have gotten that attention. Second of all, people will look at it just as an example of even if they do have the same idea, they're going to go check your video out because they now that they're doing theirs, they want to be able to capitalize or whatever. It's just going to get a lot of attention being the first one, no matter what. And it's not necessarily my concern of being the only one, not being like, that's not my concern. But if I was the first one, first of all, you can't tell me that I copied anybody, even if it isn't like some big, huge original idea. You just can't tell me I copied anybody. Mm-hmm. Second of all, I don't know, you're judged differently because you are the first one to do it. You almost get like a pass or maybe
but
like
the difference is even once you came up with this idea, there were already a bunch of them out. Like you would have had to have been like day one, like before quarantine was even around.
There were all right. So like, let me just be more, I guess, explanatory. But the idea that I had was to do the live from quarantine, and I was going to really come up with like a way to make it look like more dramatic than it was, like to make the quarantine look more dramatic than it was. Like it's like 28 days later. We've seen the movie, like the kind of horror movies stuff or suspense movies, whatever you want to call them. Like that idea and put it into a full effect. And now I've seen local bands are doing that and they're coming out with it. They just announced it like this weekend, and they'll be coming out with it like next week, I'm sure. But had everything had fallen into place like what we wanted to when we were trying to do this in the beginning with, I think we would have been the first ones with it. It would have been out by now. You know what I mean? Because we were talking about it.
But also consider Flogging Molly did their was that who it is? Flogging Molly, they did their thing.
No, it wasn't Flogging Molly.
Dropkick Murphys.
Dropkick Murphys. And what they were doing
they did theirs on St. Pat's, though. But I mean, to give you an idea of how early that was happening.
Yeah, but my point being, though, is that they didn't do it what I'm talking about. They didn't make a live video. They live streamed their show with nobody at it. And that's what I expected everybody to do. My thought was to make a live video that is a full-on produced video, not just cut back and forth from cameras, but actually like a full produced video and made for people in quarantine was going to be my thing too. Is like almost speaking to
you're
people
talking about music
in quarantine.
Video, yeah.
Huh?
You're talking about like a music video.
A whole show.
Right?
But it would have been a whole show though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it would have been a whole show like what we're talking about, kind of putting this playlist together, just live shows. And there are live shows that I watch that don't have any crowd in them either too. There's definitely some that are just recorded in front of no audience or whatever. And I've seen that stuff before, and they're great videos. Like I like watching those. But like from a quarantine, the whole idea being themed from quarantine, that whole idea was my revelation idea. In my mind, I think it would have been perfect timing. Now it's too late. I think everybody's doing it. You're just gonna get kind of swallowed up in it. Had we been a week before everybody did it, it could have really got us some attention. That was my whole goal. And the band that's doing it looks like they're doing it exactly like I would have done it. Bad Wolves. They've got this really like dark like look to it, like almost like we're way more dramatic than what it really is. You know what I mean? We're obviously we're in quarantine, but we're not all like wearing gas masks, and we're not all not communicating with anybody or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's not like the worst it could be. And I was just going to make a more dramatic version of it. I mean, it's just about being creative and utilizing like what's happening now, because I think that's the biggest thing about trying to get something viral or trying to get something, noticed is probably first of all being first at it. Like doing something first is always a good way to get some attention. But also doing it well, you know what I mean? And I knew everybody was going to do live streams, but like just for all the reasons we just talked about, why live streams can potentially not be that great, like the sound quality's bad, or if it's just thrown together.
Yeah, you can't just go live on Instagram and play acoustic songs.
Right.
I mean, you can if you're a certain level. Like John Mayer could do that and kill it because people don't usually get to see that from him. But for like local bands, it's like, yeah, we need more,
Yeah, exactly. And I saw a couple bands do it and just do it piss poor, dude. And I'm not going to name any names, obviously, but dude, I was just like, this is what I'm afraid of doing. I don't want to be associated with anything like what this looks like. It was just a grainy ass,
that
pixelated.
That sometimes is a consequence of wanting to be the first. It's
like
if you're the first and it looks like that, now you've done nothing.
Exactly. And that's why what my idea was to not just go for the easy live stream. Like, of course I can go live on my phone. My phone has the capability. What am I offering to people though? Like, I wanted to really make a product that was worth, and the idea would have been too, I never really kind of finished explaining. The idea would have been just to play it one time and then offer to people to buy it. They can download it if they want to, you know what I mean? And then
not a live stream. Right. Not live stream,
not to put on YouTube forever. Not to, almost like an event. You know what I mean? This is a quarantine
You can
event,
do more.
And we'll be talking.
You can do a lot more with recorded stuff than live stuff, I think.
Oh yeah, because obviously the ability to edit will make your quality go way up. Like if you're doing everything live and on the fly, you only have so much you can change.
Right.
Like what they talk about with giving delays. Like live recordings on TV are delayed in case something does go wrong. They actually have like a 5, 10, 15-second delay, whatever, so they can go back and fix something if something catastrophic happens. Or whatever, whatever may happen. Somebody says a bad word. Somebody slips a nip. But so the ability to edit it and make a whole product, and make a really nice thing, and it would have had to been. It's very time based. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to do it like speaking to the people in quarantine as like first of all theme to keep it within theme. Second of all, it'd be kind of fun, and a way to watch back. You watch it back, and you remember, man, that was a weird time, wasn't it? But we're not pursuing it anymore.
Yeah.
We've decided to back off of it at this point. First of all, to secure a location is difficult.
That's probably the right call anyway.
Yeah, we were gonna do the playroom. We were gonna rent out the production room possibly and make our video in there because they have lights, they have all the backdrop and what we need, and it could have made it really easy. And we're at the playroom already, so we just roll our equipment in there. But now the playroom is shut down as far as studio work. They're not, the only thing you can go in there now to do is you can go in there to practice if you want, but it's at your own risk, and you can get your equipment, obviously. So the fob's still working, everything like that, but you can't book studio time right now. Like, so all that kind of idea would have been contingent on the fact that we could have used the studio. And back when we came up with the idea, it would have been possible, but it would have been it was very time restricted. Actually, like last Friday, I think last Thursday is when Eddie sent out the email saying that studio time is closed. So until further notice. So we would not have been able to pull it off for the date that we were trying to do as a contingent.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
It wouldn't have worked out. So we would have had to get it done that first Friday, and it just wasn't going to happen. There was so many things that we would have had to pull off.
Oh yeah, because you called me on like a Tuesday.
Yeah,
so we might have even been Wednesday.
Friday. We had that first Friday. It was like really the only chance we could have had as far as both of our schedules lining up. And this is one of those things didn't work out. If it would have worked out, it'd been cool. But ultimately, it's not a make or break. I don't think it would have made any. I don't think it would have made any of us famous, but it would have been a cool thing, I think, to be a part of. I was excited about it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, any other closing thoughts?
No, look out for our playlist. We're gonna put that together. I'm gonna work on that today, and then maybe we'll make a post about it on our socials. Get that out to people. Something to do in the meantime. Watch some live shows.
Awesome.
Yeah,
well, that'll do it for us then.
All right, dude.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next time.
Peace.